Bettor Sports Betting is your home for picks, props, and futures for tonight's action. Bettor Sports Betting wants to know what picks you're playing tonight. Tell us in the live chat on YouTube, Twitter, and the Bettor Sports Network app. This is Bettor Sports Betting with Fantasy Alarm's Dan Servodidio.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome in here to the Bettor Sports Betting Show on Bettor Sports Network and Fantasy Alarm. Welcome into another edition of just baseball betting, because we got, last night we did the home run derby. I don't know if you watched it, John, but Howard was not too enthused about betting on the home run derby. But we hit on some picks that we both had out there. But tonight we got the All Star Game, I got Jon Impemba here with me. What's up, John?
Not too much. Listen, I don't generally tune into the All Star festivities. I don't really find them all that entertaining anymore. But I mean, the home run derby, I actually did just kind of flick on because there just wasn't anything else going on, and it was impressive seeing the 41 home runs hit by Julio Rodriguez in that round. Luis Robert, what do you have, like a 480 footer with just like an absolute smooth swing, just some impressive feats there. Adley Rutschman going switch sides. I thought that was pretty cool.
That was awesome
to see, just hitting absolute bombs on the right side with his bonus time. Listen, it was actually more entertaining than I was expecting it to be. Tonight, though, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it has the same feeling it did back when I was, a youngster.
Yeah, and this year we have a lot of guys that aren't going to be playing because of injury, because they just pitched on Sunday or whatever. So it's which is kind of a bummer. We won't get this year like Ohtani hitting and pitching. He'll be hitting, but like Trout is out of the game, Judge is out of the game because of injuries. Some of the top pitchers, like Kershaw is not going to be pitching, McClanahan's not going to be pitching. So kind of a bummer on both sides of that. But yeah, the home run derby, lived up to it. If you did watch on the yesterday's show, I had Vlad winning it, and Howard had Julio winning it, and they both, that was like the side of the bracket, and Howard's value bet, long shot bet, was a Rosarina, and he almost won it out. So, yeah, we were on top of things yesterday, just kind of diving into it. But the All Star Game, not a ton of ways to bet it. I mean, there's a bunch of different props you could dive into, but in terms of props, player props, there's just not a ton of available out there because of just the way the All Star Game is. The starters are only going to play 4 or 5
You don't
innings,
know what pitchers are going to pitch and how they're going to pitch, and the hitters 1 or 2 times through. Some play the whole game. There's a weird rotation to how the All-Star Game plays out. So I'm not too surprised to see that the sports books are out there being a little hesitant with what they got going on.
Yeah. So but there on FanDuel there is some props of players to get hit, or home run props for all the starters.
Prize Picks has a good amount tonight as well.
Okay. I saw Underdog had some up as well. If you wanted to get some bet on their fantasy points or whatnot, Prize Picks as well. So if you want to go that route,
Prize Picks basically gives you every player combo, hit, run, RBIs. There, so you could you kind of throw some different play combos there. For instance, their top one is Ohtani Acuna, 2 hits, runs, and RBIs, more or less. So you got the combos, you got total bases, you have pitcher strikeout combos there as well on Prize Picks.
Okay.
So obviously we do some Prize Picks content, we do underdog content over at Fantasy Alarm. So if you're dipping into there, you can get in the Discord. If you got any questions, we can certainly give you some ideas for plays there. But like you said, the sports books are kind of staying a little bit away from it. FanDuel has some out there, as you mentioned.
Yeah, FanDuel's got just a little bit of player to get a hit, player to get a home run, that kind of thing. But there's a lot of game props if you want to go that route, and on DraftKings for team props or scoring, all that. And I dove into a few of those. The The one bet I'll just give out, because this is one that I'm sure you have realized that anybody that pays attention to the All-Star game realizes that it's just a lower scoring game, and it has been for a few years now. And the total is set at 7.5, and I'm still going under on it, minus 120 on DraftKings. It's just a trend that just keeps cashing, more years than not. It's gone under, 7 runs or fewer in 5 of the last 6 All-Star games has been the trend here. And also 10 of the last 14 games have been under 7.5 runs. It's just, we see, 4-2 finals, 4-3 finals. One year it was a 2-1 final. It's just the kind of thing that the pitching ends up winning out in these. Even though we have, new pitchers coming in basically every inning. And it's just the different looks, especially late in the game. If teams don't get runs early, it seems like the 7, 8, and 9 innings, you get these, high-powered relievers coming in to just kind of close things out. And runs are just very hard to come by in this. It's rare we get, big innings, especially just from if a pitcher runs into trouble at all. These managers are getting them out of the game. It's not going to be an instance where a guy's going to give up 4 runs in an inning. It's just not going to happen.
BetMGM's got a pretty good All-Star game selection there. If you got an account over on BetMGM, I know Massachusetts has them legal. You can bet on the outcome of the first pitch from Garrett Cole. Ball, strike, or in play. It seems like they got a pretty decent amount of first plate appearance result props. Josh Jung. First plate appearance, walk, hit by pitch is plus 950, strikeouts plus 160, a single plus 600, extra base hits plus 800, and an other, I don't know what an other would be, plus 140. So BetMGM's got a pretty good amount of props available. Maybe worth taking a look on over there if you got a BetMGM account.
Yeah, I actually saw on FanDuel too. They had the same thing with like first plate appearance for all the starters. You can bet on the exact outcome. I almost went that route with a couple guys. Maybe I'll dive into that later. But there's a lot of plus odds out there that you can just kind of swing at. If you want to bet on a guy hitting a double in his first at bat or that kind of thing. I do like one prop for sure. It's Marcus Semien with the Rangers to get a hit tonight. Minus 160 on FanDuel. It's juice there. But he's hitting leadoff for the AL, which is huge for him in terms of getting probably at least 2, probably 3 at bats tonight. And the AL only has behind Semien, so he's at second, and they only have one other second baseman as a reserve. I mean, they could probably put like Jose Ramirez there. I don't know if they'll do that because he's probably coming in at third. But the only other second baseman they got Whit Merrifield. So I feel like we're going to be seeing Marcus Semien in the lineup at least for 3 times through the order. And he went 1 for 2 with an RBI in his only other All-Star game appearance 2 years ago. So that's a good sign that he's just got some confidence in this format. And his career off Zach Gallen, by the way, who he'll be facing in the first inning at least. He's 3 for 5 in his career.
If you think he gets the first hit of the game, it's plus 950. Semien to record the first hit of the game. So could be
so that would be that would be betting on he'll be getting a hit in his first inning, which is the bottom half.
So you need Cole to set down the NL lineup. Acuna's plus 230 to get the first hit for of the game there. So either way, if you're betting on some long shot odds here, they're all there. Ohtani to record the first RBI is plus 1100. So, could be.
I have a little bit more confidence in Garrett Cole as like the starter here to like start at the game than Gallen, just because like he's done this All-Star game a bunch now. First time starting it, I think, but Gallen is just like a younger pitcher, maybe a little amped. I could see him giving up.
And Cole's been a bigger strikeout guy this year than Gallen has. Gallen's had obviously some pop games when it comes to strikeouts, but there's been a lot of games this year where he hasn't really had that top end strikeout. So, if he ends up being a pitch to contact guy a little bit in this All-Star game, that could certainly play to that.
Over on FanDuel, there's a interesting odds boost that they have up there. if you want to get on this, it's Garrett Cole and Zach Gallen to each throw 1+ strikeout in the first inning. So each one to at least record a strikeout. That's not bad because, you probably have, I know I just bet on Semien here to get a hit, but there's a chance you guys just get guys trying to like swing for the fences a little bit because it's the All-Star game. They're amped up a little bit. We know Garrett Cole's got good strikeout stuff. So does Zach Gallen. So this isn't like a crazy thing for them both to get a strikeout in the first inning. But it's plus 150 on FanDuel if you want to go that route.
It's not bad.
I looked at like the Yurfie Nerfy, like yes runs or no runs. It's just kind of like a hit or miss going back through All-Star games, looking at it. Like sometimes you see, the trend has been more just no runs, but there's been some instances where you get a solo shot in the first inning, or I just look at these lineups. I don't really want to bet against Acuna going deep, to start the game, or we get like the NL has Acuna, has got Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts to start out. The AL,
this is more of a pitcher's ballpark, so that also could play a little bit. So.
Well, that's another reason why I like the under. Just being in a pitcher friendly park here in Seattle. It has always trended to the unders in recent years in regular games. This is obviously with better hitters, but you got better pitchers every inning as well. So. But yeah, the 7.5 was that total. On the whole, like kind of lower scoring side of things, I want to throw out a couple picks to you that I'm on and see if you agree, you disagree, how you're feeling with them. The first one would be the neither team to score 6 runs. It's you can find that on DraftKings at minus 145. Like looking at team totals and that sort of thing. And you can kind of have both teams to go under 6 runs here. So 5 or less. It's actually happened, more often than you think. It's in 13 of the last 16 All-Star games, both teams have failed to reach 6 runs. It's just kind of going back to that trend of these All-Star games being lower scoring with the totals going under in a lot of recent years since the steroid era, basically.
Elite pitchers too, right? And I mean, and you saw lately, the last couple of years, the spin rate was really high up, and pitchers were getting a lot more strikeouts, and they were able to use sort of the grip stuff, and it was just keeping offense down. They also were playing around with the baseballs, right? They were taking the juice out of the baseball and really, hampering the offense there. But like you said, now in an All-Star game, you have elite starting pitcher coming out, and then you have some of these ridiculous bullpen arms. These elite, everybody's an elite closer that comes out of the bullpen now. So these bats are in tough situations. So I actually do like that one. Like you said, it's minus 145. So it's not like it's like a long shot play. It's kind of the betting favorite here. So I don't mind it.
Yeah. And if you want to go more in that direction, you can also, you can go with neither team to score 5 runs, which is juiced up more. But going with the slightly safer route for no team to get 6 runs, because I could see a team getting to 4 or 5 runs early on. But you mentioned the closers that come in for these 6, 7, 8, 9 innings.
They're all throwing 105 with like pinpoint accuracy.
On that note, here are like the bullpens, because we have some, injury replacements or some late additions to the rosters. So for the NL, by the way, their bullpen, you got some starters that'll be filling in the middle innings, but basically at the end of the game, we're looking at for the NL, Alexis Diaz, Josh Hader, Camilo Doval, David Bednar, and Craig Kimbrell for the NL, which is a really solid end of the game lineup there. Devin Williams is not going to pitch, by the way. He was replaced in the lineup. And then for the AL, they have Emmanuel Clase, Kenley Jansen, Felix Bautista, and Yennier Cano from the Orioles as well. They also have Michael Lorenzen, probably slot in, as a fireball in the 7th or 6th innings. So strong bullpens. And on that note, just kind of going right off of that, another one of my picks here is no runs to be scored in the 8th inning. You can bet on this. I got it at DraftKings as well, minus 155. So it is the betting favorite there. But just another aspect of I just expect the 8th inning.
Right.
I mean, it's probably for the NL going to be, I don't know who's going to be the closer. It is Rob Thompson, the Phillies manager. So I don't know who we'd like to pick, but you either have Josh Hader, Alexis Diaz, Doval.
Against what will probably be a pinch hitter for the American
inning.
League too, right? Like when they get in that late of the game. So like,
yeah, you are going to be having the reserves in for both teams as well. And then, on the other side, it's probably going to be, like either Kenley Jansen, Bautista. I expect Clase to be the 9th inning guy, but who knows?
I mean, Bautista's ridiculous. That guy unhittable, right? So, it's going to be tough to do.
So I'll take the under half a run to be scored in the 8th inning, just the 8th inning. You can do this for any inning you want, by the way, but I'm just kind of targeting the 8th inning as one of those spots.
Yeah, I think that's a great play. So, as you said, you get later on in these games here, and the bullpen arms come out there. It's just tougher and tougher to touch these guys. So, and you like the under anyway. So. The more unders you got, the better off you are probably. So,
I will say the one thing I don't like in this game that I'm staying away from. I'm staying away from the first 5 innings under because if there's any scoring, I do expect it to be earlier
when the starting lineups are out there.
With the starters, with not these shutdown closers in the game. But so I think it's at 4 or something. I'm just kind of staying away from that.
Yeah.
I'd rather go full game under. By the way, I didn't make a pick on this, but we just got to go through it. It's basically on DraftKings. It's minus 110 either way on the money line for the AL and the NL here. But interestingly enough, the AL, if you've been paying attention, this is now 9 straight All Star games that they've won, which is crazy domination in the All Star game format. I mean, you could make an argument. Maybe it's a little bit of luck of just kind of 50-50, but it's hard to ignore that domination. But the odds makers are kind of, just making even money here. They were, by the way, if you looked like last night, American League was the slight favorite. So some money came in on the NL if you wanted to bet on either way there. Who do you see winning this game? It's basically a toss-up, but you got to think the NL breaks this slump at some point.
I mean, that's what I would kind of do. I would just kind of bet and see if the National League could come through. It's so hard to know, right? I mean, these lineups they're loaded. The pitching staffs are loaded. So even though it feels like it would just be a coin flip, like you said, the fact that one team has carried the series now for a while, the odds got to flip at some point, right?
Yeah. It's literally could go either way. I wouldn't be what happens here.
Yeah, all right.
Got me, by the way. I'm just seeing connection.
On
my end.
I was saying, just kind of looking at some of the other lines that were there. The minus 1.5 plus 1.5 lines, like those are kind of crazy because, like you mentioned, they're low scoring games. National League minus 1.5 is plus 155. American League plus 1.5 is minus 190.
Yeah.
The American League being a minus 105 favorite, though, like. It's kind of weird juice there.
Yeah. All right. Before we go on to some MLB futures odds, you got any more picks or thoughts on this All-Star game?
I think we kind of covered it. Again, it's kind of hard with these gimmick games to really give like too much in-depth analysis, right? Because it can really go anyway. There's not a lot of obvious trends, matchups, things we can look at. So, just kind of look at the game as a outside view looked in.
Yeah. All right. And by the way, if you haven't already, yesterday on the show, we talked some NFL futures and some NFL awards odds for the 2023 season. We'll be doing the same thing tomorrow, too. We're going to have Britt Flynn actually on the show to talk through some of that. And she's got a new article up on the site talking about some betting futures and some player prop futures out there. And if you haven't already, definitely go check out the Fantasy Alarm Fantasy Football Draft Guide that's up right now. You can get it for free if you have the All Pro subscription. You can use any of the promo codes out there. Promo code Howard is one I know we have to get a 7-day free trial and 50% off your first 6 months. And with that All-Pro sub, you get the draft guide for free, or you can get it for $26.99. And it's got everything you need from rankings, draft advice, everything. We got Jon Impemba had a new article that came out today talking about some quarterbacks that you could be targeting in the late rounds. But there's new articles coming out every day for you guys, and why not get on it now? We got in a month here, it's going to seem like the season's right around the corner. We got preseason games about a month.
Yeah, I was going to say preseason games are right around the corner of the Hall of Fame game. So
it's crazy. Yeah, you don't realize how quick it comes up on you until we get some. It's the middle of the summer and you get some football on your TV. So yeah, go get the draft guide right now, and we talk some NFL futures odds on this show and to help you guys out in a different way there. Shifting gears here to look, because we got the All-Star break here, we got the All-Star game, a few days between games actually starting up on Friday in Major League Baseball. So just a good time to kind of take stock in some of the futures odds for players, teams, whatnot, and just kind of looking ahead to this second half of the season. So we're going to talk some awards here and some like stat leaders for the season, because I know John and me are both kind of glued into how these players are doing and what to expect for the second half of the season, especially if you're doing like fantasy baseball leagues or you play DFS like John or make some bets. So let's start out with the NL Cy Young odds. And Zach Gallen is currently the favorite at plus 200, the betting favorite. He is the starter for the All-Star game too tonight. But Spencer Strider right there at plus 300, Clayton Kershaw at plus 400, Blake Snell at plus 950 if you want to go a little bit further, Logan Webb plus 1,500, and then Marcus Stroman, Justin Steele also there. Who do you like in this for this? Do you think Gallen is the guy to beat here, or is someone kind of underpriced?
I like Blake Snell, honestly. The guy is really just started to dominate now for the last month plus.
Yeah.
The strikeout numbers for him have always been elite. He's got 132 Ks over 98 innings. He got off to a slow start to the year, but he's really started to collect himself. He's pitching deeper into games. He went to the first 5 or 6 starts of his season where he didn't get out of the 5th inning, basically there. But he's since turned that around since May, and it's just been lights out. He's controlled with the walks. Have been great. So you're looking at maybe the Padres turning around their season in the second half with Blake Snell being a leader. So if you're looking for maybe a little bit of long shot play just because of the elite strikeout numbers that he has the ability to throw up there, that's kind of the direction I think I'd be looking to go.
Okay. I'd like Kershaw at plus 400. I just feel like I don't think he should be below Strider at this point. I think he's pretty even with Gallen, especially if we get the Dodgers that just make a run and retake the NL West lead over the Diamondbacks in the second half. I feel like that's a kind of a trend that we could point to Kershaw also overtaking Gallen in the Cy Young competition, which I think is very possible. I mean, Gallen's a bigger strikeout guy, but you look at ERA, Kershaw's got the lead over Gallen slightly right now. They're about the same in record wise, people that look at the old school stats there, but Kershaw's been as good as anybody this season. Just kind of getting it done quietly, even though people kind of forget how dominant he is, but he goes out there every 5 games and just is a stud.
Yeah. I mean, listen, health has obviously been the issue for Kershaw over the last few seasons, topped out 22 starts each of the last 2 years, but he's already up to 16. I think he only missed 1 or 2 turns to the rotation this year. With some minor things there, but as long as he can stay healthy, that's definitely going to be interesting, right? He's the current ERA leader at 2.55. You mentioned the good K per 9 up there near 10. So if he can kind of keep that going and keep his current trends and numbers in line, that works. The one thing you look at a little bit, some of the Sabre numbers on him. I mean, he's got a FIP around 3.5. So does he continue to kind of pitch to the level, or are there any low signs of regression? We'll see in the second half, but I agree with you. I mean, you're getting 4-1 on him, and a guy that's going to be right up there among the leaders in ERA, strikeouts, WHIP, something like that could be there.
Yeah, well, and to your point with the FIP, I mean, Strider's at a 2.84 FIP this year compared to his
Yeah.
3.44 ERA, which is crazy because you think he's been so dominant, and the strikeouts have been there for
He's had a
Strider
couple
for sure.
blowout
So
starts on the year
yeah,
that kind of like ballooned his ERA, but I agree with you for sure.
all right. Looking at the AL Cy Young awards here, Framber Valdez at plus 200, kind of a notable, clear favorite, betting favorite over Kevin Gausman at plus 350, just slightly below, and then Garrett Cole at plus 400. Shane McClanahan at plus 850, Eovaldi plus 900, and then Ohtani at plus 1200. Who do you like out of these guys?
Yeah, I would have loved to throw the run on Evaldi there a few starts back. He started tip back there. Red Sox obviously got to him. He's had a couple of tough starts of late. He was so dominant earlier on in the year that he's looking like a nice dark horse. I think Garrett Cole at plus 400 is probably where I would go. Framber's fine. He's definitely he pitches. The quality starts are great. Keeps the damage down. Strikeout numbers, they're okay. I mean, he's at 9.4 this year. It's almost a career high for him. But he just doesn't ever wow me, right? He just goes out there, shuts teams down, and moves on. Like I don't ever really see like some like eye popping numbers out of him where you see Gausman and Cole have like these big strikeout games here and there. So I probably lean Cole. Wouldn't shock me obviously if Framber does take it down though.
Yeah, I'm surprised at McClanahan. I would take a shot at him at plus 850. I mean, I know like so if you look at him, he's another guy. His FIP is at what plus 3 or is at 385 compared to his 253 ERA.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a guy that's just like it just seems like how many starts have you seen where he's got 10 plus Ks and he's or 8 to 10 Ks and he's putting 7 shutout innings on the board for the Rays.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm surprised at his odds being at plus 850 on DraftKings.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder. I mean, he's only missed one start I think on the year too with the injury. 11-1.
Yeah, he had that injury.
Yeah, the record being 11-1 is obviously a nice number for voters, but again, you always have to wonder with like, I guess a lot of the voters are old school now. They don't look too much on the sabermetrics, but as we said, his expected ERA is almost 4. His xFIP's 3.88. So, we'll see if he can continue to be kind of pitch around those numbers because they're obviously not great. But he is such a strikeout guy that sometimes those guys just sort of pitch through some of the poor projected sabermetric stats on them.
Yeah, if you look at the old school stats, he's 11-1 record, and he's only 2 points or 0.02 points behind Valdez in ERA. So he's right there. They have the same amount of starts too, Valdez and McClanahan. And Garrett Cole's only got 2 more starts, but yeah, I just think maybe some value on McClanahan. If he just kind of keeps it going, and maybe we see a fall off from Valdez. I do think Cole. Even Gausman, they're going to have some.
Yeah, but it could also depend on too with mentioned just kind of talking on Evaldi here, like how far do the Rangers go? Like do they? They're currently leading obviously the West. If they catch Tampa Bay and like finish with like the best record in the AL, Evaldi is a big reason for that. Like there's merit to him having that award.
Yeah. By the way, we are skipping some awards here. We're touching on the Cy Young awards because those are kind of more open. But if you look at, like on DraftKings, if you look at some of these awards odds, like Ohtani is minus 800 to be the AL MVP. Right. I don't think there's any discussion of, talking about anybody else that can catch him in that one. And same thing with Rookie of the Year, Corbin Carroll minus 300. It seems like he's got it pretty locked up. But Ellie De La Cruz is the other guy. He's plus 250. But some of the awards, and by the way, NL MVP as well. Acuna's minus 330 to win that one, and it seems like he's got that pretty much locked up too.
Yeah, I mean, just his ridiculous start. What's the AL Rookie of the Year picture looking like?
AL Rookie of the Year, we could go through that because it's pretty open. Josh Jung is plus 120 as the betting favorite. Masataka Yoshida at plus
I was
250.
gonna say, where's
Gunnar
Yoshida? Because
Henderson.
that guy has like a 7 straight 2 multi-hit game run right now. So
it's basically a 3-horse race here between Jung, Yoshida, Gunnar Henderson at plus 300 as well, and then a big drop off to like Hunter Brown at plus 1700.
Yeah, Gunnar's recent month has been ridiculous as well. So
yeah, but Jung, I mean, he's in the All Star game as a rookie, which is crazy.
How many games
is awesome for him.
Year? Only played 26 games. I didn't even think he qualified as a rookie, but only 100 plate appearances last year. So
yeah, he got a handful at the end of the season, right? But yeah, I mean, by the way, Yoshida, he's not totally a rookie. I know in MLB standards he's a rookie, but something,
he's 29.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, listen, Ichiro came over here, won a Rookie of the Year and MVP.
I know. Yeah, I get it.
They allow for it. I'm actually surprised Yoshida wasn't an all-star, to be honest with you. I mean, did 10 home runs, 6 stolen bases, 874 with a 316 average. Wasn't enough to get him into the all-star game? Now, I see a lot of people on Twitter crying about the all-star rosters, and I understand it's just an all-star game. Like, nobody really cares. It doesn't mean anything. But, there are certainly some players where you're like, if there is an all-star game, like, how did this player not get in versus the other player, right?
I know there's some questionable spots there, especially when they have the rule where you need a representative.
Yeah, I hate that rule. If a player doesn't deserve to be there or a team doesn't have a representative, then they don't have a representative, But MLB just wants to sell the all-star jersey of that player, so,
Yeah. Like, when you look at the Tigers and their rep is Michael Lorenzen.
Should be Riley Green.
I don't.
Like, what are we doing? Riley Green's been fantastic.
Yeah. I don't think Lorenzen should be in the All-Star game. But even the Yoshida probably could have made it over someone else. Trying to think of their all-star outfielders. I mean, Austin Hayes has been having a good year though, so it's tough to knock him off.
He missed a lot of time though too. Austin Hayes did earlier this year, so
he did, yeah. Like Adolis Garcia, it's tough to knock him off. I mean, the Rangers have like 6 dudes in there, so. But yeah, so. Yeah, Yoshida is worth a look there if you want to bet on him over Jung. All right, looking at
right. You know what? Brent Rooker shouldn't be an all-star. He's hitting 210.
Yeah. Well, that was one I think me and Howard talked about on the show when that came out. And we were like, oh, Brent Rooker's the A's guy. Like, why isn't Esteury Ruiz the guy? Or
42 stolen bases or whatever.
Or Noda, who has probably been better than Rooker this year. Yeah, I don't understand some of that, but all right, looking at some stat leaders, because these are ones that could fluctuate from week to week and kind of, you could ride this all the way to the end of the season where sometimes like the Cy Young or MVP could be locked up earlier. So the home run leaders, you can bet on these over at DraftKings as well. The MLB home run leader this year, Ohtani is the betting favorite right now. As the league leader, his hot streak in July, he's got 32 homers this year, and he is plus 100. Matt Olson at plus 200, Pete Alonso at plus 600, Mookie Betts at plus 1,300, Kyle Schwarber plus 2,000, and then Luis Robert at plus 2,500, as was Adolis Garcia. Ohtani's the favorite, and he's the league leader at 32 homers, but Olson at plus 200 has got 29 homers, not too far behind.
Yeah.
Pete Alonso, Mookie Betts, and Robert all have 26 homers. So some interesting value there. Is it kind of Ohtani's, lead to lose, or you think anybody's going to end up catching him?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I think, Ohtani's lead to lose. If I had to pick one guy down here that could probably catch him, though, I may go Luis Robert. Just
plus 2,500 is really good value.
That's what I'm saying, right? Like, it's a really good number. He has the same amount of home runs as Pete Alonso, who's plus 600, right? Like,
yeah.
And Pete Alonso's hitting 200 on the year. At least Luis Robert's hitting 270, so he's making more contact. I would probably take a flyer on Luis Robert here at plus 2,500.
I was going to say the same thing. I like him a lot better than Even like Mookie Betts at plus 1,300. Even though I know he's been on fire, but
he hit 35 home runs last year, which is shocking to me. I didn't realize he had that many last season, and that he has 26 already. He's going to fly by that number probably, but I think Robert, from a pure power standpoint and like skill level standpoint, to me feels like a guy that could just go. I mean, all these guys can hit home runs in bunches, obviously, but I would bet Robert at the number 20 at plus 2,500.
Yeah, I mean, Ohtani's obviously rightfully the favorite, and I want to see. I don't know what the odds were like 2 weeks ago, or like a month ago when he was just starting to catch fire. He was in the middle of his homer streak, but I'm looking back at, by the way, just right now, just last year. So the home run leader was obviously Judge, but like Schwarber at 46, Trout at 40. Alonso at 40. So I'm just looking at like that benchmark, because if you kind of take out Judge at 62, which is obviously otherworldly, I don't think Ohtani's gonna like keep this up for the whole season.
Well, what did he have? Like a home run in like 7 of 8 games or something like that?
It's ridiculous. I don't think he's gonna keep up the pace to get to 50 plus and 60, but who knows?
He could.
He could.
He might. I was gonna say he might triple crown. It would take an effort for him batting average wise, but like the home runs, the RBIs are definitely going to be there, and he's hitting 300. So, it's pretty wild.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, at least if he's in the NL, it's not going to happen with Arias.
Yeah, Arias hit 380. Yeah.
All right, so then I guess we both like Luis Robert there. By the way, he was my value pick to win the home run derby, and he just kind of like cooled off in that semifinal against Rosarina. But his swing was just like, it looked like he was effortless.
It looked like he was swinging a wiffle ball bat, right? Just kind of like flicking it out there, and these things were just moonshotting. So
just launching.
It's crazy.
All right, how about the RBI leaders? Some of the same names here, but Matt Olson is the betting favorite at plus 300 with 72 RBIs. Ohtani has 71, and he's at plus 400. Adolis Garcia is the league leader right now with 75 RBIs, and he's at plus 450. Devers at plus 500 with 70. Alonso plus 1,200. Albies plus 1,200. And Josh Naylor plus 1,500. Any value you see there? Garcia at plus 450 as the current RBI leader,
right? Like that's that's kind of where I was looking at too.
You're expecting him and the Rangers to keep it up too.
I would think so, and the fact that he hits fourth in that lineup, right? It's Simeon, Seager, Lowe, and then Adolis, or is it Seager, Adolis, Lowe? But Olsen hits second, right? So in that lineup, so like theoretically less RBI opportunities, though he's got 72 already on the year. He's got 29 homers, so Seager hitting second may actually be worse for Adolis because he's always driving guys in. So, but you're getting the current leader plus 450. It's pretty decent.
Not bad value. Yeah, where does Albies hit fourth?
It might be Riley
now
that hits fourth.
I know him and Riley. I feel like it seems weird to say that Albies going to hit fourth, but the fact that he has so many RBI.
Maybe I have that wrong. Let's see here. Okay, so actually, Holson does hit fourth. I thought Olsen was hitting second.
Okay,
but Albies hit second, Riley third, Olsen fourth. There was definitely a period of time this year where they had Matt Olson hitting second, but they flipped that around. So
yeah,
that makes sense.
So Olsen. The thing with Ohtani, and we could just talk about this real quick, is just the fact that if he gets traded, right, what team is that? What lineup is that for him, and what where is he going to be hitting in that lineup, as opposed to if he's going to be stuck in Los Angeles and probably less RBI chances now with Trout out right now. It's just it's a weird spot for Ohtani, and kind of tough to like bet on him. Obviously you want to bet on him because he's been so good, but if he goes to a team like goes to like the Dodgers, let's say, like where's he hitting in that order, and
I mean,
what is his runs production compared to his RBI
probably
production?
Third or fourth. I mean, they're not gonna hit him seventh. So like I think Jason Hayward hits cleanup right now. So like, you know, that would be.
But they wouldn't hit him leadoff, right?
Who?
The Dodgers, like they'd probably keep Mookie.
Yeah, they would keep Mookie there. So like he would hit anywhere from. Is Freeman hit second for them? Who hit second for them?
Yeah, I think it's Freeman. I think it's Mookie, Freeman. JD Martinez is their
it's
third
Mookie,
hitter,
Freeman, Will Smith. Then depending on if it's a lefty or righty, it's Muncy or JD Martinez.
Okay.
And then it's David Peralta hits 6 versus a righty. So like, you know, he's not going to hit below David Peralta. I'll tell you that much. And you know, they might honestly move him ahead of JD or Muncy there. So
I think they should hit him 9th.
Listen, I talk wraparound stack all the time in DFS. So.
Do you expect him to get traded? By the way,
no, not in the season. I think it'll be an off-season move.
Yeah, it's really the big question because it's like if the Angels want to, you know, get a load for him right now, it's just, you know, it's a real big question.
Yeah.
And they're like right in the wild card picture, but who knows if they're going to stay there.
Right.
So
I mean, listen, obviously, you know, he is on the last year of his deal.
Yeah.
You gotta try.
They're probably hoping they re-sign.
Well, that's what it is. You gotta try to sign him, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, if he doesn't want to sign with you, then he doesn't want to sign with you, and you kind of, I guess, you take the criticisms for not trading him, kind of the exact same, deal that people were upset with the Red Sox or for Xander Bogaerts, rather, where they, not Mookie Betts, but Xander Bogaerts, where they didn't trade him and then he leaves. You know, should have tried to deal him and get something for him, but you got to try to re-sign the player, in my opinion.
It's kind of a weird middle ground because on the one hand, it's awkward. You don't want to ask him, you know, like, are you going to re-sign with us or not? Right. Because you want to tell him, like, even if the answer is no, you just want to know because, all right, then we'll trade you and get, you know, a lot back in return if you're not going to re-sign with us. But if you are, then, you know, we'll keep you around.
I wonder how much they would even get for him, honestly, because he's only on the 1-year deal. There's no guarantees unless part of the trade is that, like, he has a deal already negotiated and the team that trades for him just, like, have him sign the papers once he's dealt. But, you know, that was the thing with the Mookie Betts trade, was that there was, like, no assurances, at least out there initially, that he was going to go back to the Dodgers with the trade. So the Red Sox didn't really get as big of a package for him than if they were to trade him during the middle of the season going into that last year. You know, that was one of the bigger criticisms, again, of that. It was waiting till he got to the offseason where he only had the year left and no assurances. At least the team could have traded for him knowing they had a year and a half of Mookie. Maybe would have gotten more out of that package there than Verdugo, Connor Wong, and I don't even remember the third guy. Someone doesn't play anymore.
I'm trying to remember the trade too.
Yeah, it was Mookie, Connor Wong. It was Verdugo, Connor Wong, and there was somebody else, and it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you might have a team like, you know, like the Rangers who are just like, all right, we're going to go for it. We don't care if we're trading away, you know, like 5 prospects for them.
Well, that's the thing, just, right? Like, what's the deal, right? Like, are you trading, what's that pitchers they drafted last year?
Who, the Rangers?
Yeah, for their first pick.
Oh,
now I'm blanking, but yeah, they drafted one of the best pitchers in the draft last year. I'm pretty sure.
I'm pulling it up. Kumar Rocker.
Yeah, well, they had Rocker, but didn't they have somebody else too? Or was it 2 years ago, maybe 2021? I hate doing this thing. They Jack Leiter. Jack Leiter they drafted.
Oh, they took Leiter and Rocker. Yeah. Okay.
So, like, would you trade Jack Leiter for Ohtani, like, in a deal, a number 2 overall pick 2 years ago? I mean, right?
I mean, would the Angels even want to trade him to the AL West?
I don't know.
But
Leiter, by the way, absolutely shelled right now in Double-A. Last 2 seasons in Double-A, ERA over 5.5 both years. So,
jeez.
Well, they also threw him in Double-A right away. He got drafted and then didn't pitch A ball at all. Just straight to Double-A last year. 3-10 with a 5.54. This year, 2-5 with a 5.51. So into the fire, they've thrown Jack Leiter, and he is drowning. So
yeah, they're trying to fast track.
Why not?
To the
Why
majors,
not send him to Single A? Like, what are you doing? Crazy.
All right, our last prop here, futures prop that we're gonna get to before wrapping up. Just the saves leaders prop, which is interesting because there's some interesting names. You could go either way because there's 3 guys tied at the lead for the league lead right now. It's Camilo Doval, Jordan Romano, and Alexis Diaz at 26 saves. But the favorite is Doval at plus 150, Romano's at plus 300, Diaz at plus 400. You got Emmanuel Clase, who's just one behind at 25 saves, but he's at plus 450. And then you got Hader, Bautista, Presley, and Devin Williams at some longer odds there. Yeah. But I think there's value if you look at Clase at plus 450. Should be in 1 save behind those guys, but you expect the Guardians to still be, a division contender for the second half. The Reds are the big question mark. If you think they're going to keep this up and really contend, then Diaz is a value there because he's going to have a lot more save opportunities. But I just don't know how good they're going to be in the second half. It's really a question mark for me.
Yeah, I mean, I would take the Hader 9-1. 5 saves.
Yeah, Hader's a good
5
one.
saves behind.
Yep.
That Padres team's not that bad, right? Like they can have a better second half and start getting those games where he comes in. So I like the Hader 9-1 there.
Okay. Yeah, the even the Bautista at plus 1,300, being only 3 saves back of the league lead. But we were hyping him up earlier. He's just got nasty stuff. And if the Orioles are going to be for real this second half, he's going to have a lot of, 9th inning opportunities.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Again, talent-wise, he is as good as any reliever in baseball right now. So
yeah,
I like that one. You mentioned, though, like those other guys at the top all kind of tied there. Class A, the one behind at 4.5 to 1. I'd probably stick with you, either Hader or Class A for me.
I'm surprised Doval is at plus 150 as like the favorite. I don't know. The Giants are just very hit or miss. No pun intended. Most nights, it just you have no idea if they're going to be
pitching. They just,
like how many. I know he's got some good save numbers now, but I just don't know how many opportunities can be there for him the rest of the season.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just surprised he's so much farther ahead than like Jordan Romano and Alexis Diaz.
I mean, Ryan Presley's obviously a dark horse too. I mean, he's 6 saves back, but Houston's going to win games. They have a good rotation. Plus 1,400. That's not bad.
Yeah. So those are some of our betting leans on these awards futures for the rest of the season because we got a few days left before baseball starts picking back up for the second half, and we get the trade deadline soon enough, and just the playoff picture coming into more focus. You see, you're going to lose some value in a lot of these bets now. So you get them in now before you just miss that opportunity. It's a good spot. But John, appreciate you joining me here. We got, MLB futures and All Star Game picks that we gave out to the people. I know we'll be back tomorrow and talking some NFL futures. As I mentioned, Britt Flynn will be on the show with me and Howard Bender to talk through some win totals and NFL futures. And that's a good thing about this week without, not a ton of live sports going on, but we got plenty of futures talk to give you guys. And we'll be doing some NBA too later on the week when we have Grande on, because that'll be a good spot to talk some NBA with him. So, but yeah, appreciate everyone tuning in here. 4:00 Eastern every day, the Bettor Sports Betting Show, just giving you guys some winners, hopefully. And enjoy the All Star Game tonight, John. Enjoy the festivities tonight, and we'll be back soon enough. Back tomorrow, giving you guys some more sports betting talk. Good luck, everyone.